Okay. This is our proposal presentation, and we're going to presenting.
All right, so the Developing Education Project is a 3-year-long research project where phase 1 took place last year. A survey and educational video was sent to all primary schools in New Zealand and were aimed at improving the knowledge of educational staff, including teachers and support staff, on the common visual conditions in children. These included refractive error, binocular vision conditions, and spectacle care. The purpose of phase 1 was to evaluate whether the video was able to improve their knowledge in visual impairments to work towards developing learning modules for them. And this year, we are working on phase 2 of the project. Our role is to assess and evaluate the knowledge that educational staff working in primary schools have on visual conditions in the classroom, how these conditions impact children, and the processes that follow. We look to further understand the impact vision has on the development of children and their learning, and the important role educational staff have in being able to detect and refer children with suspected visual conditions. Our findings will allow us to develop a learning module that is tailored to the needs of New Zealand's educational staff.
Hi, I'm Tamar. So why are we investigating this? Well, it's because children suffer academically when they suffer from visual impairments, as strong visual processing skills is linked to higher academic performance. Another reason is because school screening only provides a snapshot. In New Zealand currently, we have 2 school programs, such as before school screening, which is done at ages 4 to 5 years old, and also distance visual acuity is then checked at 11 to 12-year-olds. But school screening only provides a limited view, since Māori and Pacifica children are less likely to receive vision screening compared to European children. Lastly, education staff such as teachers, nurses, teacher aides, special education needs coordinators bridge this gap, as they have the unique advantage to observe their students in visually demanding tasks in the classroom, and they can watch their progress over time.
Our aim is to develop and evaluate an educational module for teaching staff in New Zealand primary schools. The specific aim for this study is to identify gaps in the teacher's knowledge around signs and symptoms of visual conditions in children that helps early intervention and treatment and prevent further unexpected results. In addition, we also aim to help staff understand appropriate process to follow when they suspect the children may have a visual disability, and the module will educate teachers on effective classroom display design to improve student attention and engagement.
So our overarching hypothesis for each of the questions we're going to ask to the teachers is that are education staff able to spot common visual behaviours associated with visual impairments in children? And while these behaviours may present differently in children with learning disabilities, education staff typically respond by notifying guardians and making informal classroom adaptations, such as placing the student's desk closer to the front. So we believe more awareness for each of these sectors would be beneficial.
I'm Durrane, and the research methods that we'll be using is that we will be collecting our data by conducting online interviews of the education staff, such as the teachers, the nurses, the teacher aides, etc. These teachers and education staff will have replied to us and consented to be contacted from us from phase 1 of this project, and they will be from all over primary schools in New Zealand. We will be using qualitative analysis on these interviews from the book of Essentials of Thematic Analysis by Terry Gareth and Nikki Hayfield. We will be pulling out the common themes from the interviews and analyzing them based on our individual topics and linking them by crafting questions that are specific to our topics. And we will share our specific individual topics now.
So for my one, the questions I will be asking is basically the identification of visual problems. So the questions I'm just going to ask to the education staff are, how do vision problems affect children in the classroom? What signs do you look out for when you think a child has a visual impairment? And do you check if they pass the school screening and stop there? Do you refer them somewhere? So I'm expecting some common threads of mentioning squinting, rubbing eyes, lazy eye, tilting of the head, avoiding participation, objects brought closer to the face, and for what education do after they see these visual issues is that I believe that they would stop after notifying the guardian to refer them to the optometrist.
And as part of our project, we are also interested in how teachers adapt to their classroom to support student focus and engagement, especially for those with possible vision issues. The first question is whether the teachers make changes like seating or lighting adjustment to help resolving visual problems. And second is whether the teachers feel confident using the setup guide on their own or would prefer extra support from us. From the first question, we expect teachers to share practical changes they've made, like adjusting settings, improving lighting, or using visual aids to help students stay focused and engaged. If they found certain adjustments particularly effective, their feedback will be valuable for future updates to our setup recommendations. For the second question, the key purpose is to identify teachers who demonstrate a willingness to try new strategies or seek support. This openness reflects a constructive attitude towards improving classroom environment and helps us better understand how can we effectively support them moving forward.
In this part of the project, I will be specifically focusing on the common visual behaviors seen in children with learning disabilities and neurodiversity, as it will be interesting to investigate those compared to those without. Questions I will ask the education staff include if they've noticed any common visual behaviors in this population of children, if they see any differences in visual behaviors in children with glasses to those without, specifically for these children with learning disabilities or neurodiversity, if getting glasses changes their behavior, or if a child is suspected of a learning disability, are they sent to have their vision checked as these symptoms may overlap? What the results I would expect would include staff having noticed some common visual behaviors in these children, and there may be a difference in the child's reading, writing, or specific learning disability when they get glasses.
So the area of this project that I will be focusing on are referral pathways, which typically involve the processes following the identification of children with suspected vision problems. And the questions that I'll be asking the teachers and support staff fall under these 4 topics and include, firstly, from their experience, what are the best ways of communicating with whānau about suspected vision problems? And what are the best ways of what are the types of responses they receive from families after hearing their child likely needs an eye exam? How much do the staff know about vision screening and what to do for children requiring a rescreen? If they experience any problems or barriers during the referral process, and if the staff are aware of any funding assistance like the Enable Spectacle subsidy that can help families with purchasing glasses. And so I'm expecting that teachers and staff know how to communicate generally with the families of visually struggling children and do have reports of receiving mixed responses. They may also have some idea of the barriers in seeking an eye exam or purchasing glasses and have therefore some knowledge of funding assistance available.
Thank
And
you.
thank you.
Okay.